nice El Al flight back to Europe.
I hope they trash their boats too. Not really, because I believe in private property, but
Well, I mean, when the idea got to a boat, they all threw their technology into the sea. They threw their laptops and their phones and everything into the sea. There was stuff on there that they didn't want to be found. I mean, you've got somebody advocating for like Greenpeace, and now think of all the fish he's just fried. Fuck.
I hope we were monitoring their communications before they do everything into the sea.
Something will come out, I'm sure. But what I do think that's going to happen pretty soon is I think there's going to be a strike on Iran. I think that's going to happen. Yeah, I was just going to have hundreds of thousands of ballistic missiles into Israel.
What's the problem?
Well, look at the last assault.
Locked and loaded.
The last assault was pathetic. I mean, the second round might also be pathetic. Remember that one that happened, the big one that they incurred? I mean, it was a nothing burger.
Yeah, but all those things that they shot at Israel had sell-by dates. So they had to get rid of that. They've been sitting in the bunkers for like, they've done their time. Now this is the new stuff. They've got the new stuff ready to rock and roll. Stuff made from China.
I don't know. I believe in peace. You know, like if you look at Ukraine and Russia, I mean, all this attention is focused on Israel and Gaza, but the conflict in Russia, Ukraine has escalated. I mean, the largest assault on Kiev took place just recently, but like you never hear these Free Pally people ever talking about other conflicts. These people are not part of a peace movement. It's just so sickening. Edward's like, I'm going to start a nonprofit. You know, I'm in the process of starting a nonprofit. I'm like, so you're part of a peace movement, huh? I mean, this is not today. Governor Pritzker, or tomorrow, Governor Pritzker is calling for like an all hands ship, resistance rally, literally at my fucking work, and man. After October 7th, I went to work. There's 300 pro-Pally people masked up banging a drum outside of my work, and I started screaming at it. This was like October 8th or October 10th. I mean, people, to me, these are like communists. Like, they look like communists, they smell like communists, but it's like worse than communists. It's like communists mixed with like radical jihadist terrorists, but even in that group, there were young Jews. And I was like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, we don't believe in war. We're anti-war. And I'm like, I can resonate with that, but I just can't understand why. Yeah.
At least we don't have any of that shit in Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, it's all tranquil. Everything's quite cool. Nobody really gives a shit. You cross the border into South Africa, different story.
I don't know. Do you think it's just a leadership issue generally? Is what the problem always is? Is that if there's a clown in charge, you get clown results?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, clowns attract clowns. But then again, when it comes to Africa, it's all about corruption. Whoever's got the biggest back pocket.
Well, I really like Stephen Miller. I don't know if you know who he is, but he works in the Trump administration. And, he keeps pushing for this big, beautiful bill. And you see all this resistance, and you're like, okay, well, fuck it. We're going to have to spend this money and, get the internal conflict under control. But, they're saying that all these people are funded by our own government. Like they released some report last night showing that like $45 million in California is being redirected to all these NGOs, and they hire a lot of these paid resistors. So it's like,
Who's resisting? The Democrats.
well, in California, they have these massive resistance protests against ICE operations who are making,
What's going on right now?
that's what's happening right now. They've called out the National Guard. The sheriff's department is battling thousands of crazy people riding motorcycles, lighting fires, shooting, doing everything under the sun.
All these people, the majority of these people, they're unemployed, or they just like bottom of the barrel?
Well, that's what I'm saying is a lot of these people are being paid to protest. So NGOs, non-governmental organizations that get contracts and grants from the state government. It's just crazy. We live in clown world, and it's like nobody's getting arrested, nobody of consequence. So it's like I just, I don't know. Maybe I think like America has let things go too long, too far, without any real like internal activity. Everything is always outward facing. Afghanistan, Iraq, Ukraine, etc. It's like, damn, if all of our attention is focused externally, well, the inside has rotted. So, like, I don't know, maybe drastic surgery is required. I'm not a fascist, but I also don't believe, that clown world should be allowed to continue being clown world. Like, now is the time to do it. Trump could strike a lethal blow to clown world.
Well, Clown House is the first place you can start with. Clown House is exactly where you find it. The amount of anti-Semitic bullshit that I come across on this app is beyond the pale.
Well, I had friends that did Aliyah, and I couldn't believe they did Aliyah, but now I actually wish I was doing what they were doing.
Mate, got your birthright.
I did that, but what I'm saying is I had friends studying Hebrew, anticipating doing Aliyah, and they're fully resettled. They have careers, they have wives, they have kids, and it's like maybe that's the best place to be, but you never know when you're going to get hit by an Arab terrorist. It's like there's no perfect solution for anything.
No, this certainly is. Or you can just hang around with a Clown House and just deal with it. Anyway, I'm going to go.
Okay, take care. Okay, Pumpkin. Anything you want to say, my little pumpkin? You're an Eric Cartman, South Park cartoon as well. I love you all. Is that room still open, Pumpkin? Nobody came to your room or something? Nobody wanted to come hang out in your I love you all room? I can't remember who Jihadist is down in I think I've spoken to you. So I was live streaming a room in here, but now I can't find the room, so it's annoying. I'm gonna get an anonymous account soon so I can live stream the most toxic rooms and disrupt their communication by rebroadcasting them into like 7 other rooms and relabel it, reframe it with my title and call them terrorists. So that's what I'm doing. There are some rooms that do not care if I record, which is kind of interesting. I'm a little bit stressed out. I need to go do some yoga and relax. Take a walk around the block. I have like a gout infection on my foot. It's very painful. I love Sam's rooms. I don't know if you know who Sam is. This ginger Ashkenazi. His room is called Every Single Word in the Quran is False. It's a tissue of lies.
The transatlantic space station didn't have as much castration and less people.
Did it have less people?
Yes.
Okay. The transatlantic slave trade involved the transport of estimated 12 million people. The trans-Saharan slave trade, while significant, involved the movement of approximately 6 million people, so half that. Across a much longer period of time. So since 650 AD and 1500 AD, whereas the transatlantic slave trade lasted only from 1526 to 1867. So that's like way less people across a way longer period of time. And that's just the people and the rate of enslavement. And also like additional factors are the harshness of treatment, and the motivation, and like the racialized justification for slavery that existed here, that didn't exist there, like etc. So yeah.
So the problem is, Zeleny, the trans-Saharan slave trade is not the only part of the Islamic slave trade. You have the Indian Ocean slave trade that moved 4 or 5 million people, and you also have the Red Sea slave trade. So it's just
and it doesn't matter where they go.
Yeah, and those two still less.
That means you submit to the will.
ChatGPT,
no matter what, with a sword.
ChatGPT says trans-Saharan is 7 to 9, Indian Ocean 4 to 5, Red Sea 1 to 2, so making a total of 12 to 17 million.
Can we agree that both were unjustified and that we should condemn them subsequently?
Yes.
Not the delusional word of Zeleny, because you can only condemn the Western.
No, please.
Let's not go down that batshit things are connected to reality.
Well, nobody submitted to the sword of Islam in Uzbekistan and Tajikistan and Turkmenistan and Iran, and the Shia don't want anything fought against the Arabization. And Sunnis for thousands of years. In Marawi, in Philippines, they fought it out against ISIS elements. It's a global issue. This is a global issue. And Astaghfirullah will never submit to the sword of Allah. I can guarantee.
This is your profile picture. Why do you have a obese black woman with red hair as your profile picture when you're not an obese black one?
I can change it just for you if you want me to.
Thanks.
I don't know.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, she had the baby. Sorry, Sam.
So then, do you think the number of Muslim immigrants to Europe is too high, or do you think that they just need to be integrated better or something like that?
I don't think it's too high. As far as I know, like most Muslims in Europe now, or like non-Europeans who moved here, like second or first generation, were connected with the Syrian war. I think that's the biggest demographic. I don't think there's even migration in some typical sense of the word. Like without the Syrian war, like you would have like less than half of Muslims that there are now. Like I might be mistaken, but I think that's the numbers.
I don't know. I see it as like I was just telling Andre and stuff. I see it as like this great moral betrayal of people's kids and grandkids that have to deal with Muslim terrorists, people who hate them and hate their values. For generations, they're gonna have to deal with this. And like how dare you do this to your kids and grandkids to make they wouldn't have had if you didn't let them in. There would have been no people in the Middle East doing Middle Eastern things, people in Europe doing Europe things. You wouldn't have had to have people in the West dealing with like fucking suicide bombers in cafes and fucking the call to prayer in the middle of London and like threats of violence.
Oh, that's nonsense, Sam.
I mean, I don't see the connection there. like, oh, there's these extremists. I mean, okay, then you put a law against extremism. I don't see this like non-modern, like kind of corporatist perspective where we generalize the groups. I think like I'm a believer in the project of enlightenment and the modern era where law applies to individuals and not to groups.
Enlightenment, is it enlightened to bow down in front of a black stone in the direction of Mecca? Like, but
Just gonna ramble or
no, kappa. Like, why should I by force get on my knees and pray to a black stone in kappa in Mecca? Why?
you should because it's cool. I mean, what kind of dumb question is this?
No question. We haven't submitted to that
How is it? And I'm talking. I'm still talking. Still talking. Yeah. So like that. I mean, Sam, this is like weird that you allow like people who like match your biases against outgroups to vote.
15 years of your 15 years.
He's doing it again. I was just literally, I had like 5 seconds more to ask, and what does that have to do with anything that I said? Like, how did, my statement about, like, I don't think we should have a Muslim ban, but, if you're going to ban extremists, sure, an individual who's extremist, deport them, if that's applicable. Like, how does that relate to, like, me saying if someone should bow down to a black stone? What the fuck?
I mean, I just think that it's kind of predictable and obvious that you bring millions of people who don't share your values. It's going to cause problems, unless those values are like very superficial differences. Like, I think if I brought 1 million Koreans into New York, it would cause no problems whatsoever. But if you're talking about people who like fundamentally disagree with liberalism, freedom, just the Western way of life, then
You mean like conservatives?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that, like, I would want Shamos to come to my fucking country if I had a country. I don't want a Nazi to come to my country.
How about someone disagrees with liberalism in its point that we should have a Muslim ban? Like, should we deport you? People like you who think we should have a Muslim ban? I would disagree with liberalism on that topic.
Polity within the borders versus doing within your borders just because they obviously very different things. And we go to Burning Man, and they don't let anyone get to buy a $500 ticket, and then you can go to Burning Man. But then once you're at Burning Man, you can like be naked and do drugs and have sex with whoever you want. Clearly, Burning Man's a very liberal event, even if they have like strong borders. I mean, ideally, you couldn't have Burning Man if anyone could come to Burning Man. It would just be sort of like fucking marauding rapists, basically what would happen.
Well, pretty sure if Burning Man were to say no black people allowed, they could be legally sanctioned for that under the liberal values and support that. And similarly, if they were to say no Muslims allowed, the same thing. And if they disagree with that, they're disagreeing with liberalism.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't have to do it by black people. You can do it by, hey, do you think that, Burning Man is cool? Do you hate the Burning Man values? Hey, here's this Quran. We're going to throw it in the trash. Does that bother you? Like, I don't know. And it's not racial.
Mr. Sam.
Mr. Shamarke.
When you say the Quran is false, every single word in the Quran is false, do you have any evidence to back that up?
Yeah, totally. Absolutely, I do.
Yeah, to the Quran I read, give me one word where it's false and give me evidence to prove your claim.
Well,
Now, I demand it.
Sure.
Now.
Absolutely. I'm happy to. Do you believe in the Sahih Hadiths? Because I've been reading those recently. Are you a Sahih Hadith?
Quran has nothing to do with each
Yeah, I know they don't have anything to do with each other, but do you believe in the Sahih Hadiths?
It doesn't matter if I do.
Okay, well, if you want to talk about the Hadiths, I would love to do that. But if you would prefer only to talk about the Quran, we can do that. What's it called? Let's pull up my document. Okay, so, you know, it says in the Quran that, some flock of birds dropped some